Today I am replacing the fuel lines on my 2008 GMC Sierra 2500 HD 6.6 liter LMM Duramax. They're leaking down here at the fuel cooler. This line right here, nice and wet. You can see what tipped me off was I was getting a lot of leakage on the frame rail. So because the new kit comes in multiple pieces and they're not crimped like this, they have quick couplers. This will be fun. I got to go from the cooler all the way down the rail. There's another crimp connection, which was clearly going to fail soon, as a lot of it is rotting away. You can see it comes around and then it goes up into the engine bay to your CP3 fuel pump. So let's go around there. You're gonna need some fuel line disconnect tools. I bought this as a kit, so I got multiple others as well. I think you need 3/8 and 1/2 inch actually. May need some pliers to wiggle off that fuel cooler. As you saw, that was not looking good. So you come up here into your engine bay, and here's your fuel lines right here. I already took the safety clips off, and they tell you which size you need there. So 3/8, 1/2 inch. These just, I rotated them with my hands, my fingers here. They go right here and they lock in as a safety precaution. I just pushed it over with my fingers and then pried it off the back here and then flipped it forward and took it right off. You may need a screwdriver. As always, your results may vary. But we'll use one of those tools, the 1/2 inch on here on the feed line and the 3/8 on the return line. Push that tool in while putting pressure on the fuel line itself will probably help. And then push the two in and then pull the line out. If you've ever messed with shark bite plumbing fittings, same concept. There is a couple bolts here you're gonna have to remove, it looks like. This guy right here, I believe a 13 mil. But again, if you're working on this stuff, you'll figure it out yourself. So take those off, take that off, and then these should be able to get wiggled down. And then here's the kit that I got. I believe it's the Dorman stainless steel kit. I actually bought it a couple years ago to replace one of the tank lines that I had leaking on me. And in hindsight, I wish I would have just done it all at once, but I only had the time to do the one. So here I am again. But as you can see, you know, there's a lot more pieces than the factory kit. And so this is actually the piece that I'm gonna be working on first at the fuel cooler. This will replace the line that I already took off that you saw. And then this is the other one that was there. This goes into the plastic tank line. This one runs down the rail here, the frame rail that is. And then at these 2 points where those crimps were failing, these lines will take the place of. And then this one that has the most bends in it will run up to the engine bay with these connecting at the engine. I'll try to get some more tips and tricks in here as I go through and do the job. So these little plastic housings, if your kit comes with these, mine were attached if you look back. So using a using a body panel screwdriver, or whatever you want to call it, a pry bar, I was able to get this underneath here and pry those tabs out. Otherwise you're gonna have to try to use a screwdriver to pop it open, which I kind of started to do here up along the transmission, and then realized I don't need to. I can just pop these out, and my kit comes with them attached, and I can just push it in. Hard to kind of show that one-handed, but these do come out. As you can see, it's coming out already, and you just pry that back. But what I'm going to do is come in through here and try to pop it out of this little bracket that's attached to the transmission. There's another one right here that I started working on. And then obviously, if you have new lines, don't be afraid to cut them with pliers. Don't use a Sawzall or anything that's going to create sparks. Obviously, you're working with fuel, not a good idea. But don't be afraid to cut, especially right here where the bend is. You know, you can cut these with some wire cutters, or even the line. That's probably what I'll end up doing when I get it out. So a lot of you Southerners aren't used to rust, but us here in the Rust Belt, I'm in Michigan, I used a little PB blaster. This stuff's amazing. I sprayed it down on the lines here just to help loosen stuff up. And this one actually, the return line actually came off pretty easily. Here's the inside of what that looks like. If you can see that, just to help you understand what you're doing with the tool. Again, I sprayed a little just to loosen stuff up, let it seep down in. Take your tool, doesn't have to look like this, but clamp it on the line, and then try not to spin it too much, because you can actually bend these tabs, and then you might be in a world of hurt. But I tried to push on this and just wiggle it a little bit, because you want this to ride up underneath these tabs, these locking tabs, and push them out. And then while I was doing that, I was pushing in and kind of like wiggling this, and you can almost feel it pop, and then it just wiggled right out. Down here by your oil filter, there's a metal tab, and it's locked in by two little wings. So I used some pliers, grab those, peel them back, get a screwdriver underneath there and wiggle it, and then you can just bend this up. And then I freed up at the CP3. So these are loose now. I got these out of that bracket. As you can see, I popped this out right out of the tab with it, because my new lines have that part of it. So just clip those in. I'm gonna cut here, make it easy to pull these lines out. And then, as you can see, I got them out of here, even though there's 13mm nuts on the frame rail on the outside. And you can reuse these, obviously, if that's what you want to do, or use the ones that come with your kit. Yeah, take the cooler off here. Another quick connect. This one actually broke. I had to break it off just to get it out. Be careful with these. You can buy these stubs, or the fuel cooler connector, I believe is what they're called. I'm trying not to. Here's the line that I replaced previously a few years ago, and I wish I would have just done everything. Dropped the tank and stuff, because I did the pump in the tank and everything at the same time. You're gonna disconnect this plastic tube on my Sierra. Goes to the tank for the feed. There's some tabs back here. You grab them with your fingers, push in and pull out, and this comes out. And then I just have to wiggle this, get this wiggle going, disconnect this, and then my lines are disconnected. probably the last thing, you need to prime your system. Obviously, you just drained all the fuel out of your lines. You don't want to run these things dry. They don't like it. It's a big pain in the butt. Learned from experience, ran the tank too low and got stranded in a Home Depot parking lot for about an hour while I was priming this pup. Anyways, I shouldn't have to explain this. If you're doing fuel lines, you should understand how to do this, but just in case. So on the LMM, there's your fuel screw here, your bleeder cap. I replaced it from a Merchant Auto. So this is aluminum. Normally it's plastic. Be very careful. It's a 13 millimeter, like this whole job required. So anyways, you pull that out and then you pump down on your priming bulb or cap, whatever. That'll be very easy, and then you'll start seeing fuel come through. Put the cap back in, pump it, it'll get hard. Take that cap off. I suggest having a rag over it because it will squirt. Wear safety glasses. You don't want to get that stuff in your eyeballs. It'll come out. Maybe give it a few more pumps while the screw's out. Put the screw back in. Do that several times. In out pump, you know. And eventually you'll see pure fuel coming out. No more air bubbles. You will see a lot of air bubbles. And then clean it up the best you can. If you have some engine bright or whatever you use, whatever your preference, you know, spray it down. I haven't done that yet. You can see the diesel squirted around here. Yeah, and just clean up your engine bay. But that should be it. Good luck. All right, well, that was a lot longer than expected. Dorman said 1 to 2 hours. I would definitely err on the side of 2 hours. Like most, you know, non-mechanic trained backyard folks, pretty handy with a wrench, if I don't say so myself, but that was definitely closer to a 4-hour job. Ran into a few issues. Mostly routing this main line up from the bottom up into the fuel pump here. That probably took an hour by itself. If you can get an extra set of hands, someone to stand up top here and kind of work these lines in. They come in on that side of the steering shaft there, closest to the engine. That would definitely be helpful. And then have someone wiggling and twisting the lines below. But definitely get those clips back on. That's a safety precaution. I had to wiggle this 1/2-inch line pretty good. I definitely don't like how it kinked on me a little bit there, but ran the truck for 20 minutes and I saw a fuel rail pressure of over 20,000. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that's okay. Definitely happier with how that looks. You come down and you can see the lines all kind of go back to where the factory spots were, just in multiple pieces. Got these soft lines here that are removable now. And obviously you can buy sections, I think, if something were ever to wear out again, which would make it a lot nicer. Yeah, so a tough job, but I'm guessing saved myself several $100s easily from what a shop would charge. And other than just the routing issue, which took some time, and like I said, an extra set of hands would be helpful if you could get that. No leaks, good fuel rail pressure. Yeah, I don't, you know, installation tip, you know, pop these off when you go to install them. And then it makes routing the lines a lot easier. Just put these in, take the lines out of these clips, put the clips onto the frame, and then route your lines. I did not remove my ABS module. I know some videos out there say you should or you need to, but I think because I took them out of these clips, which is easy, I didn't have to. And overall, yeah, that's it. So kind of my first how-to on my YouTube. Hopefully it helps you. If you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them in the comments. Good luck.